Better
And we're
light.
live. We're live.
We are live.
It's
Okay.
alive.
It's live.
You got the
Oh,
link?
I'm dropping a million frames a sec. Oh, that's why. Hang on.
So we're going to be live on the YouTube though, right? The LGCHL Media YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
When we start, you should start it with a little bit of music.
Do, 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 do.
Do 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 do.
No, hit it with the
do 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 do.
Herb Brooks speech before they went against Russia.
I don't know. Yeah, I
We're
can't
not going
play
to have
that.
any viewers off the start, so.
Oh no, no, we're not. So this is my find out what the fuck is wrong time. And I can drop f bombs because nobody's watching, and I can guarantee that.
No. Not yet. And you can see how many
Not
viewers.
yet. Not yet. Just wait. Just wait. We'll have more than 4 people following on Twitter. We'll have more than 4 people following on Facebook. 1 person or 2 people on YouTube. We'll be fine.
We'll get the show box going.
Yeah, I'm just gonna double.
I got to get you to the YouTube page here.
I just got an invitation to play hockey. I'm a little busy right now.
Yeah, just a tad.
Yeah, just a tad. I think it's a little delayed as well there, but
I mean,
Did we
delay's
put
gonna
it in the show box?
delay's
And
gonna
this later.
happen. Does it look fine at least?
I'm going to tell you. I just got to fix myself.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Holy shit. Guys, I'm going to be out of money soon.
Yeah, likewise. I'm hitting my point where now, from here on out, I'm bidding on guys that are 500,000. That's it. That's all I can afford.
Okay. All right, that should be good.
All right. I don't know why I'm dropping frames. So. I mean, as long as it looks good and sounds good, then we should be.
Yeah,
Then we
sound quality seems all right.
Video quality looks fine.
It looks like it to me.
All right. So. Didn't hurt to just hit a pop filter, but yeah, whenever Sibs is gonna put it on the site and we can start.
All right.
So, take it away.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to LGCHL PSN Bidding Show. We'll have you for just under the hour, and where we're going to be bringing guests on, which include CHL's GM owners, along with our own media partners, Hammond and Brad, to discuss the podcast that will air tomorrow, along with PSN Bidding tonight. So, as of right now, we're stuck with Kyle, Hammett, and Brad, and we'll be bringing you everything you need to know about this early bidding. What impresses me, Kyle, is that there's tons of new owners in this league with the expansion draft. The WHL is now in full force in the LGCHL, and it's causing tons of owners panic. It's causing excitement. With the full LGCHL now being 60 teams, we don't really see any space for a massive amount of TC players, which is training camp players. I think the questions everyone is asking is, will there be enough training camp players throughout the season? If not, what can the league do to really improve that?
Well, I'm not quite sure we're gonna have as many TCs as we had to start last season, especially since last season we had a huge deficit in defensemen, especially
Yeah.
on training camp. But I feel with the new media that is going into all the CHL stuff, which we are on right now, yay,
Yeah.
with all the different cool things we're going to be doing on here, as well as this is the biggest NHL league on the internet, hands down. You know, this has been going on Xbox for, I think it's since 2010. Don't quote me on that. Not positive. Should fact check that, but a little bit too late for that. But since this league's been going for so long, it's already got the reputation it needs, and this is the perfect time for all of the new people to get into it. Right as we're in this last period for NHL 17, where the community is as big as it's going to be for this game.
Yeah, we'll be going over this in just so much more depth throughout the show, as we'll be having a ton of guests on. But I believe you hit the spot. The league has done a wonderful job with the expansion happening, which ultimately will make for a more competitive league, which I think everybody's really excited to see, right? So yeah, we might as well jump right into it. We'll go to our first guest, if we can get Chris on the air.
Let me summon him.
Okay, so while we're waiting for Chris, we'll head over to Hammett, and we'll discuss how's the bidding feeling over there.
Expensive at the moment. Guys are going pretty high, pretty fast. Let me take a look here right now. The highest bids right now.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, center Gunnis 0910 is currently at 8 million with 5 bids on him, with 2 teams going after him. Can't really tell you a whole lot about him. Next, we have a lefty, Scooby. He's at 6 mil. 23 bids with 4 teams going after him. Right there, you can see a lot of teams going to be going after the same guys, and it's going to cost every team a pretty penny to get those special players that can make a difference. I honestly, there's over 30 people that are at least over 3 mil. So, I mean, to get that special player, you got to put your money where your mouth is, and it's going to cost you this season.
Now, we've all done our own scouting and everything like that, so we all have our own maximum budgets that we're going to spend for these certain players, as we're all GMs here and some owners. Do you believe, like, let's be real, is $8 million, the cap space is $25 million. Do you really think that is a smart move to make?
Like I said, I haven't scouted him at all. I don't know what his stats are. Could be, one of those guys that comes over from Xbox. Guys know his stats over there and know how much of a difference maker he can be. That can
pull up some stats for you, actually.
That can be a huge difference maker right there. That if he's a defensive centerman that obviously plays his position soundly, where you don't have to worry about the slot, 8 mil. I mean, defensive centermans are hard to find. If he fills that role,
Hello, Chris.
maybe he's worth that 8 mil.
If I may,
defense.
real quick, before we jump over
Go
to
ahead.
Chris, I actually have Gunnis's stats. He has played in the Esports Hockey League on LG.
Okay.
He might be on other leagues that I'm going to leave nameless because I'm not sure, and I'm not gonna go into it either way. It seems I'm assuming he's a better defensive player than this seems. He's got 12 points in 7 games in the ESHL. He's got 7 goals, 5 assists. He's even as far as plus minus. He's a minus 56 takeaway giveaways.
Which isn't what people don't realize with giveaway takeaways is if a player controls the puck a lot, he's obviously going to have giveaways.
Oh yeah.
56 in 7 games isn't bad at all.
No, that's his
do the math. Right. Right.
Also,
so,
if I may, he's
go ahead.
also a 47% on the face-off dot, which he signed up as.
Right. Right. So, you really with the center, you want around a 50%. Anything lower than that, you might as well have him as a wing. So, everybody knows esports is a new thing with LG, and I think they've had it around about a couple of months now. It's a huge thing. I know Tristo and McDonald were very excited about it. I know they're also looking into doing a whole lot more things with this site, and they've done a great job with it. With last season, with notifications when you get unconfirmed, they're always looking to do new stuff with the site to help everybody navigate it easier. And, hats off to them for, putting time into the site and not just leaving it at bay. They're always trying to make it better. So, hats off to them. Nice job, Tristo, McDonald.
Yeah, so I guess now is the best time ever to jump over to our first guest, Chris. He's Drakar's owner. And Chris, how's the bidding going on your front?
Well, I'm winning one bid with $6 million.
So we're going to go ahead and say that's either Scooby or Udat Twiggle.
Scooby.
So you're going $6 million on a left defenseman. So yeah. I guess that can kind of filter into exactly what we're saying. What pushed you to spend $6 million on an individual player right off the bat?
Well, in comparison to what I've seen from some players, he knows when to jump up on the offense, but he also can very quickly get back. So he's always covered. And me playing goalie this year, I definitely wanted to build from defense first so that I felt I was protected and then focus on offense.
Okay, fair enough. And what about your other players? Are you guys doing all right over there? How do you like the competitive nature that's going on between what seems like every single player with the full 60 teams lined up trying to get a 17-man roster?
Oh, yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. It's been fun. First hour of innings just rolled by if you're just joining us. 13 minutes past 10, and it's tough out there. There's a lot of bids, lots of players over $3 million already, and there's Chris for you, telling you that he's having a fun time doing it. But let's be real, it's all hurting our banks.
No kidding. I'm at the point where I can't renew some of my bids because I'm hitting to the point where I've got to keep money available in case some of the players I want to rebid on.
And here's a question everybody's looking for. How late are you planning on staying up tonight?
Oh, well, see, I get up really early to go to work.
Yeah, so you're able to...
The second I get up.
Yeah. Chris is going to be that guy that puts in a bid at 5 o'clock in the morning and we wake up to it.
4:30 in the morning.
Oh, 4:30 in the morning. And we wake up to it going, oh, okay. Guess I got to put a bid on that guy.
Yeah. Do remember, bids do last 8 hours. So,
which is different than the NHL and AHL because those are both 12 hours. So CHL is only 8, which is definitely a lot of guys aren't having to wait around to figure out, hey, who's my team? Of course, if they're getting bid on several times, it'd be longer, but, being 12 hours compared to 8 definitely keeps owners and GMs on their toes constantly looking at the board.
Yeah, fair enough. So we'll jump over now. Chris, we'll keep you on the line for a second because we're going to keep having the conversation going. But we're going to jump over to Brad here, who's Owen Sound, part of the Owen Sound Attack, part of that OHL group with me, as I'm in the Sarnia Sting organization.
Starting the rival already.
Yeah, starting the rival already. How's the bidding going on over on your front?
Well, I tell you what, today I'm a teacher and for high school students, and today we had a half day for senior exit interviews. So at lunch, I went out with, I don't know, $25 in my pocket. I'm telling you right now, there's no change. There's nothing there. I thought it would carry over, but it's not. There's nothing left. Some of these bids are just outright, you push a button, 5 seconds later, that button's, it's been done. It's already moved on. I'm getting notifications. And I tell you what, right now, I'm loving this, though. I tell you what, it's so nervous, but I'm loving it. I've got the GM to my left on my phone. I got you guys in front of me. I got the Ottawa Pens game on, and I also got the PlayStation on the background. I'm a 4-screen guy up to right now. So I'm bouncing around. I'm loving this. As much as nervous as can be, I'm loving it. This is what I like.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. I feel like everybody's feeling that. I mean, my phone's going off like a madman. We're trying to secure a couple bids here, but I think it might be that point in the night where you just kind of got to wait and see what happens with all the guys, and then kind of try to jump back in on them later. Once those bids go through, where the guy's got $8 million, like if he goes up a little bit, you might have these teams where they start realizing, hey, we can't afford any more players. And hopefully that's where, if you've scouted deep, you're able to kind of jump in and get some good quality players deep in your lineup. What is your strategy this season going into bidding?
I know for bidding wise, on any individual person, my max to hit off on is $4 million. Right off the bat, when I hit $4 million on one person, doesn't matter who it is, that's when I start questioning, do I really want this person? Can I go and get 2 guys for $4 million that can do the same production? So I know that was my first restriction. I'm looking at guys, and this is where it's beneficial with being CHL. I'm looking for guys that can play two different positions, 3 different positions. You know, when I'm looking for forwards, I'm looking for somebody that I can say, hey, I can pull him at left wing, right wing, center. And then on that defensive end, I'm looking for guys that can play defense and goalie at the same time. Because if I need to pull a goalie, I can use it then.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And what are your guys? I want to ask the entire group this. I guess we'll start with Kyle. You've kind of already answered this, but Chris, we're going to ask you it as well. Okay. What do you think about the expansion this year? Having 60 teams in the CHL, not a lot of room for training camp players. How is that affecting your bidding? Are you have you planned for that at all?
Well, I'm looking at trying to get more active players, so staying away from the players that only have 2 games availability. Trying to keep it where they're available all the time, because I know with my schedule, I'm going to need people that are sort of available whenever. But with limited TCs, it's definitely going to impact in the sense for the ability to bring in TCs to play the odd game when, say, somebody can't show. So it's really going to impact when you, say, have all your guys already at 3 games and you have a no-show.
Yeah.
If you've got none.
Yeah, I definitely. So what do you think that the league can do to completely kind of benefit us if say not enough TCs are around?
Allow us to reschedule games to a better time where we can get more people, maybe. That would probably be the best bet at this point. Or allow owners or players to play a little bit more depending on the scenario.
Okay, yeah, so 2 solid options there. I think the one fault with rescheduling games, that would be there's already a game from Sunday to Thursday, 2 games a night, right? So it's pretty tough to kind of jump that extra one in there. Maybe look around 7:30 times, times like that. But other than that, I definitely don't know how they would 100% do the rescheduling. But yeah, allowing maybe players to play a little bit more games, not necessarily a lot. There could be contracts in place. I'm not too sure what they want to do, but it's going to be interesting for sure come halfway through the season, and a lot of teams maybe even having forfeited games if they do nothing, right? So we'll have to wait and see.
I know they chimed in this afternoon on our chat through Discord and whatnot about changing the number of games you can play. What I was discussing with my GM, even just bringing it about, was trying to use the ownership as an ECU. How they set up the structure for ECUs, make the GM and AGM and owner be able to play 16 ECU games on top of the regular 3 games a week. Once they hit 16, then you're done. And that way you're not making other players play 4 games. You're keeping it to, you're going to have a manager on call every game no matter what. You're going to have somebody there that knows what's going on and still have some flexibility. You know, maybe it's not the same guy each time. Maybe it's not the owner. Maybe you can put in somebody else, but still restrict how much they're being used. I think taking everybody at 4 games instead of 3 would just be, you're killing the system of being prospects, TCs, and actually utilizing. But if you could just do it with ownership, I think that would be something that you can look into.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. That's exactly what I was thinking. Kyle,
Yes.
you look a little nervous over there.
I looked at
you doing all right? Yeah. That's all it takes. You just go to your alerts button and you're like, well, there we go. Got to rebid on
It doesn't
everybody.
help. I've actually got all my everything, including bidding, pulled up on my MacBook down here, as well as I've got my phone blowing up with all of the "you got outbid," and it's just all right here.
I've got players messaging me like, "Oh, I really wanted to play for you. Please tell me that's your bid." And it's like, "Oh, sorry, man. You're going a little too high right now." But yeah, it's rough.
And I know one thing you have to be careful about is you get scouting certain people and you're like, hey, I got a buddy that would be good for you. We work together. And now all of a sudden, now you're trying to bid on 2 people and try not to break lines up. And then all of a sudden, you got to make a choice. Do you make left or take the right? You don't know then at that point.
I mean, all it really takes is 2 teams to bid up a guy all the way to $8 million. We can see that right here, right? So, I mean, 2 teams, 5 bids, $8 million. I don't know. Maybe there's a couple under the table things going on over there. I have no idea, but that's a high price right off the bat. You're jumping up like $1 million to 2 a bid, right?
Yeah. Bold statement.
Yeah, and then the next guy at $6 million, he's got 23 bids on him to bring him all the way up to $6 million, right? So he's been going up slowly. So you kind of wonder like what price the market is going to stabilize. You hope that you start to see kind of throughout tonight and into tomorrow morning, prices starting to stabilize for certain positions, so that you can look like, okay, it looks like defensemen are going to cost this and forwards are going to get up to this. But as of right now, I feel like a lot of people are getting excited. We got all 60 teams bidding at once here, and it's just really getting everybody to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think shock's hitting in because it seems like stuff's starting to slow down.
Yeah.
Guys are realizing, hey, well, I don't have much money left. We need to cool our jets.
Yeah. And I guess that's what you get when you sit there and you make these bids now. These other teams might not be able to compete with you if you were one of those teams waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you hope for that.
And this is a very, very different scene from especially what I experienced last season with Hamilton. And I'm sure Hammett can attest to this as well. The highest player I had, and I have all the rosters pulled up, my highest personally was 3 mil, and that was Patriot of Canada. Unfortunately, he's very off to the NHL. I'd love to have him back right about now, but
well, if he were to be playing here, he'd be at $8 million.
Oh, easy.
So
I mean, and even some of the guys I had between him and Novak's 8, those were the only two guys that were not 500K on my entire roster. And now I'd be lucky to have, 2 or 3 at that minimum.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, fair. I do agree. That minimum
Yeah.
of $3 million. I mean, how is that going to affect teams though? Like you could technically get your 15 guys for under $3 million each, and that would work out perfectly. You'd stay under the 25 million cap. But you start bidding 8 million on a player. What does that do to the rest of your roster?
I'd say it gives you more of a, to relate it to the actual NHL, kind of a Chicago Blackhawks, Pittsburgh Penguins kind of thing, where you've got your superstars, or what you hope to be superstars, especially with who you put around them, and then you've got the competent bums, to put it nicely.
Yes.
You've got,
yes.
the role players, the Brian, the Rusts, the Shearys, the Kunackles. On any other team, they're mediocre players at best, but they're playing alongside Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. The same thing with like Tyler Mott in Chicago. If you put him on you put him on Colorado alongside Nathan McKinnon, who had a very off year, you've got the same kind of situation. So you've got to hope
Yes.
that those star players can carry you through in that situation.
I think you got the standpoint of two choices. You're hoping that you scouted enough people that you've got that Joe Schmo down at right D that's only going to be 500,000 in your back pocket, or you're going down the other route, like just praying that something's going to happen and maybe somebody. I mean, at this point, who knows? Maybe you bidding up to 4 million, you're kind of hoping that somebody puts it to 4.25, that you can go back and find that other person now. There's so many possibilities here. I mean, this is going to carry over in the night. Like you said, you're going to have a lot of people thinking with their phone right beside them all night long. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And don't forget, we're going to have Brad back on and Hammett tomorrow with their podcast. That will be going over a lot of the bids that will have closed by then. So we're going to see those players, and we'll actually have a good idea of what the maximum bid will be. And it'll be interesting to see tomorrow for sure. So I definitely encourage everybody watching and all of our viewers right now to watch tomorrow night when Hammett and Brad take on the stage of their first podcast as co-hosts there. So if you guys want to say what you guys are going to go over in your podcast, that would be perfect time to throw the hint.
Brad, go ahead and do it, because I'm a little busy at the moment.
No problem. I know we're like we said here, we were talking about bids that went final, bids that are still open, who's the highest. Maybe there's some sleepers down there. I know I'm excited about preseason. That's what I'm waiting for. I want to see these guys already in action. The people that you do get a bid on, I want to see them in action, ready to go. See how that comes out.
Yeah,
that's a clear example of telling you what story you're going to have. Did you bid well or did you not bid well? It's right at you right after the bid, that fast. So that's what I'm looking forward to as well. So I'm hoping that on my end as an owner that they're in my favor, but who knows? We'll find out tomorrow whether or not I'm in a good mood or a bad mood.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a story with, I think, all of us and all of our viewers watching here. You wake up in the morning, you're either in a good mood or you're in a pretty tough situation where you haven't got anybody you wanted, and it's going to be either a rough season or you're hoping for a couple guys down in the 500K range to help your team out.
Yep.
Yeah, so I definitely I recommend to all viewers to watch that podcast tomorrow. We're about an hour and a half into bidding now and starting to see the prices going up and continuously going up. But yeah, they're starting to stabilize now. So it's starting to be a clear picture of how this bidding is going to go with the 60 teams for the first time. We love how it's going to be a competitive league this year. With a full 60-team roster, I think it's going to be a lot more equal. You're not going to have that Val-d'Or team that can just sweep the entire playoffs and win the Memorial Cup. But we do want to say congratulations to Val-d'Or last year on their Memorial Cup win. That's a big accomplishment. And I mean, a lot of the players are now in the NHL. I think almost all of them. So that's great to see, and that's where it really starts. Bidding begins from the ground up, and you start building the Memorial Cup roster right from here. And if you make the right decisions, you've got a solid team going forward. And if you don't, then it could be a rough one all the way in, and you're going to have to start relying on trades.
Yep. If I may chime in real quick, both with an anecdote and an announcement, we actually do have another guest hopping in. We have the GM from the Colts, SG Dragon Slayer. He's going to be hopping in. So, as well as
Okay, perfect.
Back in season 3, I was in the AHL, and I was talking to the GM. I was saying, "Oh, hey, I'm going to try and go for CHL ownership next season." Now, I was on hands down the worst team last season, or not last season, season 3 in the AHL. I was on the Grand Rapids Griffins. And it still hurts my soul that I was on the Grand Rapids Griffins a little. Like, it made all of my, I'm not going to lie, my stats were okay to look at, and then, no, they weren't.
Yeah.
But he had given me one piece of advice, and I can give this to all owners as well as GMs. The person who wins the cup usually is going to end up being the person that can manage their TCs the best, who can have all those extra games that they can ECU, especially going into the playoffs, as well as having guys being ready that can immediately go in and gel with whichever lineup you're going into that game with. Anyway, we have our guest here, SG Dragon Slayer. How you doing?
How's it going?
So, how's your bidding looking so far, now that we're about an hour and a half in?
I just got out of a call with my owner. We're not, it's been really rough, everyone that we're placing a bid on, they're at like 3 million now, so.
Yeah.
Do you have a counter plan on that? I think we're all in the same situation. I think everybody watching is like, are you serious? What is going on? So what is your counter plan to what's happening there on the bid floor?
Well, I live in Alaska, so I'm 4 hours behind the East Coast. It is 6:30 here, so I'm hoping that I can place some bids, around in the next 2 hours or so, and hopefully people are asleep by then and you won't bid on them. But
so you're gonna be one of those guys.
Yeah. He's gonna be one of those guys that I'm gonna wake up in the morning and fluently bid on everybody on my roster.
You got some night owls here too.
That's some strategy there. No pun intended. Like it's there.
The advantage of living in one of the coldest places in North America.
It's actually been pretty warm in the past couple
You should be
weeks.
hot. You should be hot
it's been
right
like
now.
50 degrees.
With all these bids, you should be hot by now.
50 degrees is warm here.
I think the bids are raising that temperature, like Brad's saying there.
I know, it's like 200
making them
degrees in my
sweat.
room. I am sweating. My hands are sweating.
And what would be your guys' advice, simply for the teams that are waiting a little bit? They've got guys sitting around 1.5 million. Maybe they're not the front and center type guys, but the moment that those big guys start going and the other teams can't afford these big guys anymore, they're going to start trickling down and bidding on these other dudes, right? So the more that you wait, technically you might have more competition on those players that you're hoping for.
Yeah.
All those guys
so
that you've been in scouting games with and you haven't seen them in others, those are the guys you probably want to go for at this point in time. Any of those guys that you feel confident with, in my opinion, now's the time, while everyone's focused on $8 million everything on the same players. 23 bids on the same left defenseman.
Right, and looking at the bid board, a couple of guys I know that were TC players last season. There's 3 of them I can see right now that were on my TC last year that are already over $1 million. So that shows you right there that there's less players and available than what there was last season. And how high the bids are going already. It's quite interesting seeing all these bids. I mean, I think there aren't many right wings left that don't have bids. I think defense is getting pretty slim too. Take a look at that right now.
We now got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 guys over $6 million already. That
One of
Yeah.
them is a
6
goalie, right?
You got
Don't
3
bring it up
left
until it's over
Ds
6
and 2
mil.
centers listed over $6 million right now. So apparently left D. We talked about that. Somebody made a comment before about defense being very thin last year. Maybe it's a carryover. Maybe people are focusing on defense first instead of forwards. I mean, you know, the phrase goes, you can always find a scorer. Can you find somebody that can play defense? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's the issue this year.
And one of the things that definitely helps as far as defense goes is having management that plays defense. So,
That is true.
yours truly,
That is true.
M Canadians over in Saskatoon, a lot of the guys that are playing the positions that are really hard to get, especially the ones that have a lot of experience playing in the league. They're gonna have a much easier time than a team run by a left wing and a center.
I believe Kyle's a goalie. Am I right, Kyle?
I was a goalie.
No,
What'd you go
I'm
to
a
now?
goal.
I'm
I'm a
lefty.
goalie.
I went back.
So Kyle went to defense. I
it's a good
know
thing.
Dragon
I'm
is
a
a
goalie.
goalie.
Mm-hmm.
Chris went to goalie. I'm a defenseman. It's
I can play right
Manage-
wing and right D. So
right,
you can pull another
management-
one to defense.
right. So that just shows you a lot of management takes those positions that are hard to find.
Yep.
And you just pray for the best. Everybody tells you talk to any owner, they'll be like, defense is the most important position besides goaltending. Goaltending can either be your best attribute or it can ruin your whole season. It's one of those are the positions you have to scout for. So it's not surprising to see these kinds of bids on defense, and especially centers. Finding those defensive centermen is huge. I mean, forwards, it's kind of one of those dime a dozens. Everybody thinks they're Crosby or the next Ovechkin. It's finding the Chris Prongers, the Duncan Keys, in this bidding that will help you get to where Valdor was last season, and that's champions. If you see, I believe every single one of their defensemen on that team was an NHL draft pick. So, I mean, that just shows you the importance of defense throughout the league, not just the CHL.
And yeah, I'm going to chime in on that as well. Based off of me playing so far as a goaltender in a lot of Sarnia scouting games and a lot of my own team's club games, without defensemen, a goaltender has a really, really difficult time. His job is increased immensely if there's one-timers coming at you from every single angle and the defense can't hold the inside of the zone and keep the team to the outside, right? So you're almost looking at, agreeing with what you said, you're looking at getting a number one goaltender. You're looking at getting a number 1 and 2 defense. And then you're even looking like, hey, we kind of need that third really good defenseman to help out to put on all of our top 3 lines here so that not one of our lines is kind of ruined, right? So you really hope that it'll be interesting. Well, it will be interesting. I think we've pretty much went over that with this whole bid board going viral here with the $8 million on Giannis, and now we have a left defenseman there taking over the next second spot at his name's Sir Nibblers a lot. Yeah, so he's at 6.75 million. Sir Nibbles a lot, right? Okay, better pronunciation. And then we've got Scooby going at 6.5 million, and yeah, you look, the top three guys after Gunnis is left defenseman, right?
Lefty.
And they're all in the above the 6 million range. So it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see. So this entire season, it's going to be a great one.
And going back to what you said about the defense, you could have this really good goalie, but if you don't have good defense, you're not going to go anywhere. Because say you take Carey Price, you put him on a bad team, he's going to steal a couple games here and there for you. But if you took Carey Price and you put him on a Pee Wee team and you played against NHLers, he's going to get lit up.
It's very true. Yeah, it is very. That's exactly what I was saying there.
Or if your defense, it's horrible, you end up going into a game with some of your buddies and you get that goalie. Sometimes some weird can happen.
Sometimes you meet that person in a CHL podcast too.
You definitely can. So, taking a quick look here at the YouTube channel, we got 19 of you guys watching now over YouTube, and we want to make sure you guys can ask us some questions on the comments. We want to keep this as entertaining for you guys as it is for us. I mean, it's not too hard now that we're seeing these crazy bids coming in. But, yeah, definitely throw your questions in. You can direct it towards one of us, direct it towards all of us, and what we're going to do is we'll answer those as quickly as possible as soon as we see those.
I'll pull up the chat right here. And I'll keep
while you're pulling up the chat, why don't we chime in? Since you brought up YouTube, we were going to talk about this tomorrow, but, if we got 19 viewers, let's get it out there. We were pushing the LGCHL media like crazy, and we've got stuff out there now. We've got media outlets. Yeah. So we'll be talking about it more tomorrow, but look out for us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. We'll be doing stuff out there nightly, weekly, and we'll be summing up the entire season on there. So be on the outlook for that stuff.
And don't forget with Chris, you're still in this, eh?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, yeah. So you might as well take this time to kind of go over what you do with the media team, how that's going to help us out here, and go with what your write-ups are about.
So in my case, I'll be doing weekly power rankings, and please don't tell me that notification was me getting outbid.
I've been getting those all podcasts.
Oh, God damn it. And I'm thinking Hammett's laughing, so he probably just bid on some people.
No, you want to tell me who to bid on?
Nope. Don't want to tell you who to bid on. But I'll be going over basically weekly power rankings of what's going over in the QJMHL and the top players over there. That's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, no, that'll be unreal. He already has an article if you want to go check that out on the threads. Great, well done. Man, my words are coming out differently now that we've been on for 2 hours. Extremely solid job on that article, and you're looking for more and more each week, I believe. You're doing power rankings each week, right?
Yep. I'll have a power ranking out after the preseason to start off the season, and then we'll be looking at it after that. It's weekly.
Yeah, it is. I'm actually doing a podcast for LG right now.
You're on the air saying that, but they want to be a guest. Hey, we can join them too. Yeah, no. So, you got any questions over there for us, Kyle?
Yes, from Josh. Is it a lower chance to be bid on because it's my first time playing? What do the owners think of new people to LG? So, you guys, would you like to?
There's another people on you.
Well, I guess I'll kick it off with that. What do new owners believe?
You're at $1 million right now.
with new players. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Well, some of us are new owners, and I technically, as this is going to be my first time GMing,
Yeah.
what I look for is straight up from the scout games, and I do take a quick
I
look
put a
to
bid
see
on a
if
guy.
you have been
Right when I put a
scouted
bid on
out.
another guy fucking put a
Hey,
bid.
Hammett.
Give me 1 second.
Sorry, I'm on the horn with my management team.
Yeah, we the entire thing can hear you here.
Yeah, so it's quite lovely.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I'm going to keep answering this question. Kyle, you want to go over that question one more time, actually?
Is it a lower chance to be bid on because it's their first time playing, and how do owners feel about new players to LG?
I definitely don't believe. I mean, if you didn't do any scouting games, if you didn't come by and join the LG pickup games, if you didn't go under that shell box right there and hit LG pickup games and look in the OHL, the WHL, the QJMHL, if you didn't look in those leagues and jump into some of those scouting games for PSN, then definitely you're not going to have anybody who really knows 100% who you are. You're not going to really have any connections that are going to get you into the league because you're not going to have any previous stats. But if you've been doing those scouting games, I do not think that there is a low possibility at all. If you've been jumping into those scouting games, a lot of owners are going to have you written down on their Excel sheets. They're going to have you put into their depth charts. They're going to be looking to have you at some type of bid. Do remember, bidding does not last one day. Bidding will be over at least the next 48 hours, in my opinion. It goes until the last man standing, right? And everybody has their full roster finally. So a bid has to stay on for 8 hours. Once a lot of the people's or the owner's first choices kind of fade out a little bit, I believe that a lot of other players will start being bid on. Do remember we need to fill 17 roster players each side or each team, right? And in order to do that, it's going to take pretty much everybody that signed up for bidding. That was one of our biggest problems is TC players. We're not going to have a lot of them. And what a TC player is it's a training camp player. And if you don't get bid on, you get randomly assigned to a team. One of the 60 teams, obviously, right? And I completely believe that no. To answer your question short, I don't think new players have a poor chance of being selected. I think that as long as you did your scouting games, if you impress some owners, you're going to get bid on. It's as simple as that. Scouting games were, I believe, where everybody made their choices. I mean, a lot of people had first connections and things like that, but I definitely believe that even though you're a new player, you're going to get bid on if you impress the right people. I'm going to hand it off now to Brad, actually, to answer that question as well. Kyle, if you want to.
Yeah,
Brad.
You're gonna have to chime me back in. I lost connection there for a little bit. You have to chime me in back on the question.
I'm also gonna head out now because I work at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah, right. Thank you so much, Chris.
No problem.
Definitely.
I get up
Chris.
in like 5 hours.
Yeah, Chris was our first guest. He wanted to be our first guest so that he could get off early, and we've kind of just kept him on this podcast this entire show. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Chris. You can definitely
okay.
get there. Good luck with the rest of your bidding, and
Yes.
remember to watch the podcast tomorrow.
Will do.
All right. Have a good night, man.
You too.
Man, I
Okay,
forgot
so
I
yeah.
got a final tomorrow.
Oh,
I'll wing it.
that's just depressing.
I'll wing it.
Sure hope so.
Okay.
I can say I can vouch on the final part because I'm giving out finals, so I can vouch for that.
Oh, there you go. Kyle, yeah, if you just want to ask Bradley the same question, just talk to me.
Actually,
maybe
I've got a bunch more questions here, as well as, hang on, I'm being told I'm way too low, so just give me a sec so I can try and fix this and pray to God that I'm not absolutely clipping to high Evans. Alright, let's go with that and see. Does this help? Do I sound more audible?
Yeah, you definitely sound better.
Okay. So
Yeah, I want to start off saying, like, sorry, this is our first podcast. Don't be too hard on us here. We're trying to make it great for you guys. We're going to pretty much just go run through your questions now, and hopefully we can get T-Sibs in here at some point through our show here. That would be awesome. But yeah, Kyle, if you want to run that question out, go for it.
well, actually, we've got more. So, for Hammett, from DG Keeper, why is your picture the St. John Sea Dogs? Hammett, you there?
I think Hammett's on mute because he's answering that he's answering that call from his owner.
Oh,
Oh,
so
he's
we'll
in the
go.
I'm back.
doghouse.
Okay.
Oh, he's back now. He's back.
Yeah, just it's actually my GM, just filling him in. He just got off of work. He's shocked at what things are people going for, and yeah. The reason Sea Dogs is actually my VG team. I like to just stay in different leagues to be competitive while the off season's going on. I actually changed it to Red Deer, but it evidently hasn't hit yet. So that's what that is. Well, yeah. You guys got any questions on that YouTube?
I do.
From Vanessa, for a CHL goalie, what do you think the max contract should be?
Oof.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I can chime in first here. I know the two goalies that I'm looking at. Personally, there's 3 or 4 guys I'm looking at, but the 2 guys that I'm specifically looking at right now or bidding on, we'll put it that way. They can play left D, right D, and that's what my focus was on. I'm looking for somebody that can play 2 or 3 positions very well. One of them signed up for left D, but you know what? Secretively, I know that they can play goalie if need be. I can pull them down. So, being goalie in CHL bidding wise, that's rough. I know my focus, again, like I said, on anybody is 4 million max on one specific person, but I would say somewhere right around 2.5 max. That's where I'm capping it off every time. But at that point, I would look for a goalie that would just be goalie sound. But like I said, the 2 guys I'm looking at, they can play left, they can play right, and goalie at the same time.
At the same time, that's going to be very useful for a game you only have to ice 4 guys.
It's possible. You never know. You never know.
EA, get on that.
Yes.
But
Okay. What?
So what do you guys think about that as well? I mean, I personally, I'm going to 3, but if I get outbid, I'm not too worried because I can just switch back to goalie. You know, as much as I'm not that great, it doesn't really hurt me that much.
Right. I'd say around 3.5 is probably your starter. It's gonna probably get most of your starts. And then around 1-2 for your backup goalie. That's kind of how I do it. But I mean, other teams might do, more on a goalie that they know is solid, that is a prospect and can't be called up, and then go maybe less for a guy that's just going to do, maybe 3 games. That's where you're going to have more of a goalie that's playing close to 40 games in the season to one that's maybe hitting 20. Those are rough numbers, but I could see people doing it that way too. But yeah, I'd say highest on a goalie would be probably no more than 4. But that's just me.
Yeah, I'd agree with Hammett. I'd say no more than 4. A goalie, yeah, it's a very valuable position, but it's tough because I'm looking at my depth charts here, and I'm having a hard time going over 3 for guys. And if I had to go, I mean, I'm a goalie for Sarnia there. That kind of worked out that way as I'm GMing and I'm a goaltender. But when we're looking at our backup position, we're valuing it as a starter position because I'm trying to find a guy that's hopefully better than me, and we can give him more games than me, and that would be good. But I don't see us going over $4 million for a goaltender. Kyle, you got any more? Any more?
I got one.
Go right ahead.
So Caesar Sandoval asks, how will the playoffs be now that we have 60 teams? Is it the Memorial Cup gonna have 4 teams like in real life?
I was actually about to read that one off. So great minds think alike, I guess. But
so correct me if I'm wrong, but the format is the host team and then the champions of all 3 leagues.
Yes, that's.
Correct.
I believe that's
That
correct.
sounds right.
That sounds correct.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure how they're gonna do that. Well, I know they can, they'll crown the 3 champions. I know the Xbox side, they choose a host team by whoever wins like a special series or whatever. I'm not too sure how that's gonna work out, but I assume that it will be 4 teams.
I'd assume what we're going to do is we'd be copying what they do from the Xbox side. Because it's still the same. It's not really plagiarism if it's the same thing doing it. If some other team did it, then, or some other league did it, then it would be a little different, and we'd be being like, that's terrible. How are they copying our style? But I think that's probably the way we're going to do it. I think we're going to have the 4 teams, personally. How we're going to pick a host team, it could just come down to a little lottery between all the teams. Right before the final round, so we know who's going into the Memorial Cup.
You mean as in lottery with the teams left remaining, or in the entire
with the teams
CHL?
left remaining. So
Okay.
So it could be literally any team, but preferably one from the playoffs at the very least.
Right, because if you choose the last place team, people are gonna be really upset.
Not only
or why didn't I get to go?
Not only are they going to be really upset, but that team, if they're in last place, they're probably
They don't
going to
deserve
just
to be
get stomped on. And it's probably not going to be very fun to watch.
It'd be cool, maybe the last place team pulls it out of the bag, sweeps the Memorial Cup.
Okay, Valdor.
But here's a follow-up question. Do you think that they will follow the real life and do a round robin and then, the single elimination, or do you think that they're going to do like a best of 5?
I would personally love it if they did the round robin. But that's, again, me personally. I'm not
I agree with
saying it would be cool.
Yeah.
Do I think it's going to
cool.
happen? Not so much. I think it's going to end up being a standard bracket. But it would be absolutely sick if they managed to pull that off.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like that's going to take a lot to get a round robin going in after the champions of each 3 leagues, right? But yeah, I think that everybody would favor that. I think that having it identical to the Memorial Cup would be pretty unreal.
It'd create for a good experience.
Oh, definitely. If it's exactly like the real CHL, I mean, obviously the league's going to do everything in their power to make it the best that they can. And if they put it up to a vote, yeah, I would vote 100% for having it as a round robin.
Sure.
Hammett, you have anything to say about this one?
Good answer.
Okay, good talk. Good talk. Good talk.
You're right. Sorry.
Okay, he's back.
Yep.
We're doing a lot of stuff right now.
He speaks.
Ooh. From DG Keeper, Bog Tools at the moment only allow for standard bracket. So,
Yeah.
looks like the round robin's not happening, but maybe in the future it could be revamped and put in there.
NHL 18.
I know Tristo was looking into how to divide the W. That's new fresh waters. So it possibly could be an option. I don't think this season it will be. But that's just my opinion. But as past owners know, anything can change on this VG site in days.
VG?
Rule changes. There's always stuff in works that we don't know about.
VG?
So, what?
VG?
And
I didn't
VG?
say VG. I said LG.
You said VG.
Shut up. Make sure you edit that out.
We can't. It's live.
Just a little side note. Ottawa fans, you're pretty happy right now. They beat the Penguins
Congratulations
2-1.
to the
Did
Ottawa
they seriously?
forcing a game 7.
We got a game 7.
Thank
I
the
mean,
Lord.
the streets are wild here in Ottawa.
Oh,
But that's a great series. And for it to go to Game 7, that's going to be some great playoff hockey. Nashville Predators, an 8 seed, comes and just knocks out the Blackhawks in the first round, knocks out the Blues, Ducks, top teams. Pecorine, man. I remember watching that guy in Milwaukee, and now he's just this phenomenal goalie. Definitely shows how much goalies are important in the playoffs. The saves that guy makes and just how he plays the puck is just a total difference maker. Definitely will be a good Stanley Cup final.
Worth it just to know that they're not only the 8 seed, they're the 16 seed overall, and they're in the finals.
Final wild card position in the West, and I mean they got hot at the right time, and that's basically playoffs, man. It's a whole different atmosphere when it comes. I mean, guys playing through broken bones, bruises, blocking shots, breaking your foot, playing through it. It's just a total different game compared to the regular season.
You can hear the horns out there. Yeah, that's Ottawa for you. They're pumped up.
They're partying
what I'm
very
thinking
politely, like dancing in the streets during only red lights.
Hey man, yeah, right in the middle of it all.
And this is a good question. This is a good question for the other guys to look up. With that Nashville, they were the last team to clinch. They were the 16th team, quote unquote, right?
Yes.
Correct.
No,
with
they were
this
not.
new, they were not.
The Leafs were the last.
Oh right, it was the Leafs.
Correct.
Because
Leafs were the last,
there was such
but
a gap
Preds are
between
16.
Nashville and LA.
Yeah, with the old playoff format, who would have they played in the first round? That's the question I'm looking at. With the old playoff format,
I think they still would have played Chicago.
Yeah, it would have been 8 versus 1.
Yeah, it still would have ended up being Leafs, Caps, and Chicago and Nashville.
Because I know the past couple of years people were complaining about the whole playoff system, how it worked out, that they're not playing the same teams they would, but that's pretty cool that they would have been playing Chicago no matter what.
But
what you also have to put in is, I believe one of the tiebreakers is shootout wins, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things that people were complaining about, was because the shootout was implicated into the tiebreakers, which made the shootout more important than, say, overtime.
Just
with
ask
what
Toronto.
it used to be.
If I
Right.
if I may, I have the standings actually right here. And in the old format, where the division leaders retain the top spots, it would have been in the East: Washington, Toronto, Montreal, and Boston, Columbus and
Oh.
Ottawa, and then or Pittsburgh and Ottawa. My bad, and then Columbus and New York.
See, that's big.
That'd be pretty good.
You would have had Ottawa and the Pens in the first round.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Big
they would
flip.
be going to Game 7, apparently.
Yeah.
So,
And then in the
Let's-
West, you would have had Chicago and Nashville, Anaheim and Calgary. So everything's still looking the same. San Jose and Minnesota, and then Edmonton and St. Louis.
Edmonton, St. Louis would have been a good series.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been a good series.
Edmonton
And-
still takes it.
I didn't notice this either. Winnipeg actually jumped ahead of LA. Didn't catch that actually.
They went on like a 10-game win streak after they were eliminated.
Mhm.
Yeah, something. But yeah, so the playoffs would have changed, but not as much as everyone thinks.
Yeah.
I still think this playoff format is pretty dumb, personally. But
That's why I brought up that question.
I still,
I'm there
I
with
still
you.
think the old format would be a lot better, and that this experiment should probably, we should probably stop with it.
Yeah.
But
So I'm gonna quickly throw into a question here from Josh because he's been waiting for a while. Josh Eichelson asks, do owners and GMs look at people who can play multiple positions?
definitely. Especially
CHL
in the
level,
CHL.
100%. 100%.
I think more defensemen than forwards too.
Yes.
The one big thing that plays into this is there is no position lock in the CHL. You can play wherever, whenever.
Yeah.
Well, almost whenever.
That's
You
pretty
still
stupid.
have the 3-game limit.
Not at the same time.
Yeah, you can't switch from goalie
maybe
to
at the
player.
same time.
Too easy.
You're just that good. But watch out, then maybe Brad wants you.
No, some cheat codes.
It's possible.
But yeah,
And-
especially in the AHL and the NHL, you can't jump around positions. Forwards have to play forward, defense has to play defense, and goalies in net. But
And that's why that position lock is so key when you make that transition between CHL to AHL. Because whatever position you sign up for, that's what you're going for.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful what you sign up for right off that 24-hour window.
But you still do have the preseason that you can go and have your position changed by the Bogs. So you do have a little bit of leeway if it's not working out with that team with that position. Maybe they'll try you somewhere else and they can bring someone else in. But down here, if you can show the owners of your team that you can play any position, you're going to be probably playing more than just what you signed up for.
Right. Now, if you say you play left defense one game and then the next, 2 days later, you're playing right wing, do those still count towards your 3 games, or is it 3 games at one position?
Nope, it's 3
Okay.
games. It's 3 games total. Unless you're the starting goalie, then you can have up to 6.
What happens if you cross between
gonna play 6
goalie
games.
and
You can only play 6 if you only played goalie.
Yes.
Yeah, if
So
you
if
move up to forward or a skater spot,
You lose.
you
those
cannot
3 games.
move actually back to goaltender. No.
You can, but only for one more game.
You can't play 6 games. No.
Yeah. I personally did this last season. I had to jump between defense and goalie all the time. So I had to bring in someone that could be the definite starter. But I also was comfortable in jumping up. I was able to pull up a TC to play my extra game, and everything worked out in that regard. But for all new owners, definitely look at that, as well as players be ready to play whatever you're handed.
Yep, I definitely agree. So we got another question here. It's how do you feel trading will impact a 60-team league?
Well, if
Can
say
you
that's the
trade
first-
interleague?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Tons of
Hmm.
trading. I guess I'll go first on it. I mean, it depends what kind of owner we have here. Like we don't know, we haven't really seen it. There's a lot of new owners, lots of new GMs, lots of new players, and pretty much a whole new everything, right? The entire league is different this year. Last season, we saw tons of players be traded in the first week, which, in my opinion, doesn't really make sense to me. If you're going to pick up some players, you play them through preseason and you don't really like them through preseason, do remember it takes a little bit of time to get your team to have chemistry with each other. It takes a little bit of time for your team to start performing well. They go through little slumps. If you're confident with your bidding, there's no reason for you to be trading random players at without even seeing at least 2 to 3 weeks of their game. So will trading impact with a 60-team league? Yes, 100%, because you're going to have these new owners that are trigger happy and they're excited to trade a lot. And they're going to jump in there, and there's going to be other teams that are more experienced trying to take advantage of them. And to be completely honest with you, I think we're going to see a lot of that because of the fact that there's just so many owners in this league.
Plus, people are gonna blind bid, so they're gonna be making tons of trades. Like week 1,
Right.
getting rid of the guys getting rid of dead weight.
You might also see some. You might see some trades if people turn out to be inactive. They're trying to pull a fast one on some other owner, which is a very scummy move, and I really don't recommend it personally. But it could happen.
Oh yeah. No, he's active. He's pretty good. This actually happened to me in Rocket League. I'm an owner, and I random assignment. I got handed the best player the league has ever seen. I've never heard of him. I didn't know how good he was. So this GM messages me right away. He's like, "Yo, you just got to sign my friend. He's just a buddy of mine. Can I have him?" And I'm like, "All right, yeah, sure." Well, I didn't know that he was the best player in the league. I'm on the last place team, all right? He scammed me. Always do your research, kids.
It's important, and that's why that's another thing. When you're a new owner in this league, you really have to take a hard look and do a lot of research before you accept each trade. Don't just be like, "Oh yeah, that's great. He's got a lot of points. I'm gonna grab him." Because what if you never know? Like he could be that kind of just a straight up scorer. He doesn't really do a lot of puck movement. He doesn't really have a lot of teamwork skills and teamwork efficiency. So a way to maybe kind of jump in and say, hey, maybe I'll make that trade with you, but first I want to see how he plays. So then the other guy can be like, okay, I'll send him over to you for a couple drop-in games, right? Like there's never a rush, and that's my advice for new owners and new GMs trying to make some efficient trades throughout the season. Take your time, do some research in your own way possible. But don't just pull triggers on deals that you think are going to improve your team based off of not even knowing who the guy is, only based on his stats. I think that's a poor way of looking at it. I mean, you look at the real NHL, they have scouts at every game. Like you go look at before the trade deadline, they have scouts scouting out other teams because even though they may know their stats and the team's Corsi percentage with that player, like you really have to look at it and you really have to kind of go scout him for yourself. You have to see how he's doing and what's going on with him. And that's just kind of my quick advice to everybody who's going to be making trades after bidding. So we're now 2 hours in, and that's pretty impressive here. We've been talking for 2 hours about bidding. It is exciting. It's 100% exciting. But bids are starting to finally slow down. I don't know about you guys, but I have not had a lot of my bids overturned.
I had about 58 notifications in the past 2 hours, and in the past 15 minutes, I had nothing. So maybe that's a good sign.
I hope it is. And you're starting to see. Look at the top now. We'll quickly go over the top 5 players. I think that would be more than enough to discuss for the top of the second hour here. Gunas has actually went up to 8.5 million. So he's got 7 bids on him, 4 teams involved on it. He is a center. Then we've got Scooby going now from 6.5 all the way to 7.75 million. Scooby has 30 bids on him, and that is only from 4 teams. So those 4 teams are definitely the ones that are extremely stressed right now, really angry, and they're
So
trying to
how you
figure out.
feeling about revealing that?
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's 7.75 million for 30 bids. That's a rough one. So I feel for all the teams trying to get Scooby here. Sir Nibbles a lot. He's up from 6 when we last stated to 6.75. I'm kind of getting the vibe that a lot of people who scouted Scooby maybe are scouting Sir Nibbles and are kind of jumping to him. A lot of jumping off the ship of Scooby now that he's kind of reached that 7.75 mark. Would you go higher than 7.75? I don't know. I mean,
I wouldn't go higher than 5.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But hey, that's what we're at with Scooby and Sir Nibbles a lot. And then you jump down. We're going down 500K to another left defenseman, John from Earth. Glad to have you here. 6.25 million. Still a lot in my opinion, but hey, at least we're coming somewhat down to earth again. Udat Twiggle down. He's a center. He is at 6 million with 9 bids on him. We got Craven A27. You know what? Great defenseman. He was in my scouting game, but he mentioned to me that he is actually going to the AHL. And I mean, you can't really 100% trust players when they say that to you, but he is at 5.75 million. So now imagine the team that gets him. He moves to the AHL.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to you guys. Exactly. So that is our top 6 players on the bid board right now. We've got 2 centers, 1 right D, and 3 left defensemen. What do you guys? I mean, we've already been talking about it throughout the entire show here tonight. But what do you think's going on with those top 6 players? Are you thinking that, hey, this is it. This is as high as it's going. 8.5 million. We can't go higher than that. It is impossible. What do you guys think?
I'm glad that I jumped ship on Craven.
Great defenseman, though. I'm not going to lie. He was in a couple of my scouting games, and I really liked what he brought. But hey, you're risking it. He might not play in the AHL, and hey, you got yourself a good defenseman at 5. What did I say there? 5.75. But I don't know, man. Like if he goes to that AHL team, and whoever got him at 5.75 mil, good luck.
I don't think that this top bid is going to stop, in my opinion. I think it's going to keep going up, especially with all these new owners that almost definitely are not listening to all our comments about all the contracts and how, that's a third of your cap right there.
I'm one player.
I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking it's not done yet because not maybe because they're listening, whatever you want to take it. But I think it's just because knowing that we have 60 teams, there's somebody out there sitting at 500,000 or somebody sitting there just waiting to be bid on. And I think you're going to have that reach where somebody's going to say, you know what, give me that 9 million, give me that 10 million. I'll go and spend that 500,000 on, I don't know, 6 or 8 guys.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Then there's the teams sitting in the dark too, right? So you've got the teams that are like, hey, I'm not going to bid off the start. I'm going to see how the market is treating me.
Exactly.
And, well, you've got your answer. It is going to be expensive. You've got to pull out your wallets for this one. But, I mean, if you've scouted Gunas, I feel for you too, because I would not have went over like $5 million for a player. But, hey, owners disagree, I guess, and we're now at 8.5 million on Gunas. So, yes, we've got the consensus here that it's going to continue going up. I believe so too. We've got a lot of new owners, lots of players that are just going to jump on ship for Gunas and jump on ship for Scooby. I think that this it's not going to cap out at 8.5. It might go up slower now.
9.7 is the end.
9.75 is the prediction from SG Dragon Slayer. Okay.
I'm gonna say he hits 10.
Okay, so you're talking almost half of your CHL salary cap. So whoever gets him, if he's going to $10 million, Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'd probably look forward to playing that team.
Yeah.
He
I
better
mean-
put up 500 goals in this season.
I mean, I also have never seen this guy play, and I'm just going off of what I saw from his esports hockey league stats. I don't know if he's played pro series. He may have. For everyone that remembers pro series, it was essentially esports hockey league before it was cool. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, going off his stats, I don't see it, but maybe he shocked some guys and he's improved from those 7 games. I mean, that's also not a very big sample size, but who knows? I might just be crazy and he'll be the number 1 draft pick next season. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. So I want to keep our viewers understanding what is going on here. So we've been running since 10 o'clock, I believe, right? No, we've been running for 2 hours now.
No, we've been running since
Almost
10.
2.5.
No, we started 10.
Okay, so we started at 10 o'clock. We are going to run until midnight Eastern time. So we've got about 40 minutes on the dot left in our podcast here.
I was not clued in on this.
I was neither. I wasn't clued in on when we were beginning either.
Well, that is a good point.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Kind of went pretty quickly, to be honest. There was a lot of it's tough, right? We have a whole new media team brought into this. We're really excited to be working with the LGCHL community. We hope to keep you guys involved, but really, it was tough to kind of get this entire group here together. I know a couple of us are going to be leaving at 11:30. Like Brad, I know you have to head out early. That's okay. If some people do have to leave early, I mean, we can take the show from there on. It's not a big deal. We thank you guys for joining us tonight. I want you guys to keep filtering in those questions on YouTube. Please, the live chat, it's kind of slowed down. We have a lot to talk about, but we definitely enjoy the help. So go Waters. That's what I'm seeing from Nick Rowan right now. Good for you, buddy. You keep it going.
That's nag.
You stay strong.
It's nag.
2 of my players
hey,
are just.
I'm part of the Sting organization, so I feel like there's going to be a couple tough games there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
We also have an answer. Gunn is an Xbox NHLer.
Yeah, okay,
I'm
that's where it's coming
that
from.
they allowed him to have a second thing then, because it would have said his stats on his profile. At least at the I'm hoping that he's been allowed to have it and he's not just doing it, because that'll lead him down a very quick road to the banhammer. 2 accounts.
Yeah, it could, but as far as I know, he was approved into bidding, so I believe we are good to go with Guinness. But 8.5 million, that is tough. That is a big chunk of your salary cap. And what do you do if you actually land that player around 10 million? I mean, you don't got a lot of room for other guys. And based off of what I'm feeling right now, it's a hard time to kind of even get those 500K players that I expected to be 500K. They are not 500K. They are like 3 million. So this is getting pretty insane. Like we did say, it's starting to slow down here, which hopefully it continues to do. We would love it if you guys all stopped bidding and just gave us our teams really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, leave my bids alone. I'm on the air.
Yeah,
yeah, we're trying hard here. So
I mean, I'm not revealing who it is, but I'm surprised it took this long. I still have my AGM's bid, but I finally got outbid on him for the first part of it, and it sucks.
Yes. It's tough, man. It's really tough. We're almost sitting at the spot where, what do you do? My depth chart has been destroyed, and I had about 13 guys on each position that I was looking to grab. I only needed 3 from each, and it looks about like 9 or 10 of them have been being bid up, and that's pretty tough because based off of my top 3 guys in each position, none of them are available at the moment based on my maximum bids. And that's pretty frustrating to have. But, I mean, that's what also makes this a competitive league. It also makes it great for the community as everybody out there making those bids is enjoying themselves right now. They are having a great time doing this, even though they may be stressed out and they may be like, oh, my goodness, I don't want to do this anymore. You can tell that they're having a good time. Like, is this not fun, guys? Were we not having fun doing this?
Oh yeah, of course.
Tons
I
of
want
fun.
to strangle people, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly, I think, everybody's emotions
This
on the air and off the air watching.
I love sitting at a computer screen watching numbers go up.
So yeah, Travis Garnett, you're saying what is the minimum that we can bid? Well, the minimum that you can bid is 500,000. That's basically stated right there when you're going in.
Mhm.
You can go up in increments of 250,000, and there is no maximum bid, but there is a salary cap. You need to grab, along with your GM and your owner. Those guys have no cap against or nothing against the cap. But after that,
They have no contracts.
yeah, for the next
Jesus
15
Christ.
million, you have about 25 million to grab. So for the next 15 guys, you have about 25 million on the cap that you need to go for. So Austin Marchese, I see with 60 teams and a bunch of unknowns, you just chuck and pray. Or owners and GMs should be running emergency scout games for guys with no bids over the next 2 days. What do you guys think about that?
I agree, unless you magically happen to get everyone that you want. Which, if you've been scouting unknowns this past, I don't know how long it's been since since the regular season ended, which I know is I started scouting the week we were eliminated.
And that's solid. That's solid in a way, but that could also really hurt because although you began scouting right off the bat, the chances are if players are scouting on week 1 of the offseason and they're trying to get on teams in week 1, they're going to be scouting throughout the entire offseason for other teams as well. Well, they're going to grab a lot of interest. And I can tell off of your facial expressions that that's exactly what is happening, is it not?
To an extent. To an
extent.
There's a couple guys that I'm really confident I'm gonna be fine with, and I'm not dropping any names because I know someone's going to absolutely screw me.
Same.
But I know there's a couple guys that I'm gonna be able to get for pretty cheap. Especially some very, very key parts of this team.
Yeah, and I think that's where everybody's kind of sitting right now. We all have very specific key parts of our teams that we need to look at, and if we don't grab them, I think that's where we're going to decide, hey, we need to pay a little bit extra for that guy. He's a key part of our organization, and he makes everybody else around him better. So we're running up to 11:30 here, and I know that Brad, you're heading out. Brad is the owner of the Owen Sound Attack.
I've got a question for Brad.
Hmm.
Do you think
Shoot it.
you can fill the shoes of Kevin Hess, DS champ?
If you guys have been following all the posts and new threads on LG, you would definitely know what I've been brought attention to. Like I said, I don't want to be free Kevin Hess. I want to be better than Kevin Hess. Hashtag that for me. Hopefully I can do better. We'll see.
Hopefully.
I think I have a pretty darn good scoring GM that will score goals and not pass. That's the way we like it, apparently. But no.
Better learn the waiver system.
You know our system. Put it on net. Hope and pray. Pray and spray, right?
Just a heads up, if your TC's bigger than everyone else, you've already messed up.
That's my Rocky League team.
So yeah, Brad, I have one question for you, and this kind of ties in. This will be your last question of the night because you got to get up there. You got to do some teaching. Remember, Brad and Hammond, they'll be back on the air tomorrow night, going over pretty much everything that was happening today and overnight and in the morning. And I believe that is going to be a massive part of this bidding. So I'm going to kind of tie this question into what Austin said and what Travis is asking. If all of your players, say, are getting taken out by these 60 teams, as an owner, are you going to start running these emergency scouting games?
Emergency scouting games. I think in my position wise, definitely think that I'm set, just because we took it under our wing that at each position, you don't want to scout just 3 people. I know for a fact we scouted just about 10 people at each position that I could go out and say, hey, you know what? I can go out and bid. Now, with that being said, you can probably take about 7 or 8 of those guys gone tonight alone. So will there be emergency scouting? No doubt in my mind by someone. Me personally, it'll be simple private stuff here and there if need be. But I think we have a good mindset between me and my GM. I think we're okay.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's a great way for you to end this conversation, because that just proves to me there that hey, you've been running your team well. You've compared pretty well to Kevin Heston, and
I'm on the right foot so far.
You're on the right foot, and I think that if a team has really scouted their guys well and scouted a lot of guys, there won't be a need to really go out there and grab those emergency scouting games. And that's what we did with the Sarnia organization. And as Brad just stated, that's what you did with the Attack organization. We scouted a ton of guys, and we're hoping to kind of get our first picks. But obviously, that's a hard time right now. We're having a really difficult time doing that, as all of us are. Everybody watching is. So now you're going to start seeing us kind of going towards our second tier. And I mean, we still do have 8 hours to clear those first picks, right? So there's going to be a lot of going up and everything. But we want to thank you for joining us, Brad. There's a solid hour and a half on the air with you. Like we said, Brad and Hammett will be joining us, or not joining us, but they'll be running their own podcast tomorrow night. Do you have a time yet?
I haven't said it yet, but definitely look around probably the same time like tonight, probably 9 o'clock, somewhere right in that range, somewhere 9 to 10.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for joining the show, eh?
Hey, anytime, no problem.
Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Good luck. Goodbye. All right.
Okay, so there goes Brad.
Are you saying that only bad teams are going to do the emergency games?
No, I'm not saying that. No, I didn't say. This is the thing with media. I'm not saying that bad teams are going to just be running these scouting games. I'm saying that a lot of teams believe that they prepared themselves well enough to not have to do the emergency games. But I mean, if you were to look at it, you could look at it also as, hey, that's just going to benefit us if we do these emergency scouting games. Why wouldn't we? Right?
Well,
so I know.
What if this was your plan the entire time? Then they're not emergency.
Exactly. And then there we go. Yeah, there's teams that are kind of running those scouting games. I've been witnessing it. I see still on the pickup games. I'll even name a couple teams right now on the LG pickup games for the PS4. We've still got
the Saguenayens, and that's it.
Saguenayens. Okay, so we got one team. But no, I'm not singling out Saguenayens and saying that they're a bad team. No, not even close to it. I am pretty much just stating that a lot of teams feel that they have prepared themselves enough to not have to do it. Do remember, there's 1,000 players. Pretty much all of them have been scouted. Pretty much all of them, because owners over the past 3 weeks, unless you're a little bit, you became either a GM a little bit late or anything like that, they've been scouting since almost day one of the off season, which means they have tons and tons of time.
Are you a GM? Kyle? That's the question. Are you a GM?
Which one of?
I don't really know.
You know what? How about we all say? We are all management. We will go there.
If I may just step in real quick, I gotta head out because I got stuff to do. before I fail my final.
Yeah, and Dragon Slayer's been joining us there. He's been running running this podcast instead of studying for his final.
Yes.
So you know what? Good luck to you tomorrow. Good luck with bidding. Horrible time for bidding actually when you've got a final, but hey.
Not really studying for it. I have to do an assignment for it, which I haven't done yet.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
man.
but
We'll see you later. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me. Good luck on bidding. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You as well.
All right, peace out, stream.
Adios. All right.
Down to 3. The final three hosts here. Haven't heard a lot from Hammett here. Hammett, you've been doing a lot of your bidding, haven't you? You've been going behind our backs while we're busy with the stream.
And
just getting tons of messages.
Yeah, I think we all are here. We're at that point where my owner is out. Actually, to answer your question, I see there, Travis, you were saying, Mike, yes, I am a GM. I'm the GM of the Sarnia Sting organization. My owner is Zero Sympathy. And I've been kind of getting the same stuff. I've been getting a lot of messages from Zero. He's pretty much stated to me, hey, I'm heading to bed. You run it from here. I'll message you in the AM. So looks like I'm in control of bidding over the night. So let's hope that works out well.
All right. Also, a little point from Ken. You don't get a lot of points in Pro Series. I didn't know. I don't play Pro Series.
You don't get a lot of points in Pro Series. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I've never tried.
Yeah.
I'm kind of poor, so.
Actually, you know what? One of my buddies he goes by the gamer tag. It's game time. He's actually he does a solid job. He's done a lot of that. I'm not going to tell you his exact gamer tag, but just in case you guys go out there and start looking for him. But he's actually been doing a ton of. We've actually just got a request there. We're going to actually have another guy added to the show there within the next 10 minutes. But yeah, so he's been doing a lot of Pro Series and playing for money and everything like that. And he's actually warned me that tons of these players in bidding today and over the next couple of days are actually players that are 100%. They've been playing for money before. So it's interesting. And I know that they try to stay under the radar because if they know that if they kind of give out that they've been playing for money, they're going to have a high salary. And believe me, I think a lot of players enjoy having a high salary based on what that says for you. It says that you were scouted extremely well and everything like that. But I definitely have to say that makes you harder to have a good team around you, right? So even though you can have an insane salary, you don't want to take up the entire cap, because if you do, then unfortunately, who's going to be around you? If you're a good center and you're costing $12 million, well, what defense are you going to have? What goaltender are you going to have? I mean, you have to have 15 guys on your team, right? So what's going to happen for the rest of those players? So yeah, I completely believe that if you've played Pro Series, you obviously will get bid on a lot higher. But I mean, yeah. So we'll just kind of leave it at that because I've never really played Pro Series myself. Hammond, how you doing over there?
Doing okay. Bidding's finally slowed down on my end for the moment. Bringing up our different media channels so we can let everybody know where they can find us, send their videos, so we can do top plays. Just want to say Mike Ponzi, part of the Sarnia Sting, did an awesome hype video for the CHL. You can see that on the main page of the CHL.
Yeah, tons more will be coming that way as well. I've got Kyle here, and he's part of the video production team as well. It's Kyle and I, and we'll be doing tons of videos like that.
Actually, if I may share our idea, we are going to be essentially running a little SportsCentre thing.
Yes, so you've watched SportsCentre on TSN. Kyle and I are actually going to be running SportsCentre for the LGCHL, and that's going to be a great thing for us to have. We're not going to overrun with what the podcast is doing. The podcast is always discussing speculation and a lot of things that are happening around the league. SportsCentre, we're just pretty much going to go over highlights, a couple like really nice goals that have been scored. It's going to be more of a video type thing, pre-recorded, everything like that. So we're really excited to get that started. We're going to have one every single week. It's going to be edited extremely well because we have Kyle here, and he is a solid editor. I'm pretty good with fades, as you saw in the hype video, but that's about it. So
yeah, if you looked over at my personal thing, when I spend time on editing, I spend time on editing. It's ridiculous, actually, the amount of work I put into certain things. Not all necessarily hockey in the past, but, now that I'm sitting here, I'm kind of obligated,
Yeah.
Unless suddenly LG likes Zelda.
Then towards the end of the week, make sure you keep an eye out for Zilla and Chris's power rankings. We'll discuss those over the podcast. Zilla will be joining us along with Chris to discuss those power rankings. You can follow us on Twitter at LGCHL Media. You also can find us on Facebook at LGCHL Media also. If you do have a video and would like to send it to us, our media team email is lgchlmediateam@gmail.com. So save those. Send me the links. I'll send them over to Kyle. We'll get those up. Get some lovely media exposure for the CHL, which was very lacked last season.
You're being very generous.
So we're looking, So we're just trying to get this back on the road. Any questions of where you can find stuff, feel free to hit up any of the media guys. As we'll probably be on since we're all management. Other than that, definitely take a look at our podcast, comments, send us questions. We'll answer them to the best of our knowledge. That's pretty much all I have for everybody tonight.
Okay, sweet.
And
so just at the end of our podcast here, we're wrapping up in about 20 minutes from now. But in 20 minutes to finish off the show, we're going to have our final guest. It'll be Nicholas he's the owner of the Erie Otters.
It's going to be Nag. He's going to
Nag.
Hopefully he's not as
Nag 55.
Yep. Hopefully he's not naggy in person. Huh? You see what I did there? That was terrible. I'm sorry, Nag.
Getting at the end of our broadcast, we're having horrible puns being thrown here. No. So Alex, I feel you, buddy. We just got a comment there on our YouTube stating, I thought I was going to make 500K, but holy, I am at 3.25 mil. That is vulgar, gentlemen. Buddy, we're not surprised because I personally did not scout you. I didn't get the chance to do that. But, man, I've heard a lot about you. I've heard that you're a solid player. We were hoping to get you at a decent price, but, it just really it's really taken off on all fronts here. We've got players up in the 5 million area. We've got tons of players in the 4 million area. Personally, I expected to only go to maximum around 3.5 mil on a guy, but I guess that is not happening tonight. I'm going to have to start readjusting my plans and going a little bit higher. and I think that's what a lot of GMs are kind of beginning to do. So yeah, actually, you know what? We've got Nag here. Welcome.
What's up, boys?
Welcome to the show. We're extremely glad to have you, as we're all not running out of things to talk about.
Totally not.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, no, we've been seeing a couple comments from you there. We've been purposely ignoring them, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no. So welcome to the podcast. How's bidding treating you? How's the bid floor for the Erie
Not
Otters?
good, actually. Everyone's bidding on my guys, and not
Yeah,
fun.
you know what? We're getting the same reaction from every single owner, and you know, it's tough. But hey, you're gonna have to just drop down to those second tier players that you wanted as well, right? So
Oh, yeah, every good owner has a list, right? So
exactly, yeah.
You can always send me your list, Nick.
What?
I said you can always send me your list.
Oh, why don't you just go ask Melt for your list?
What, you guys just what? Are we gonna all trade lists now and say, hey guys, stop bidding on these guys? Let's do some negotiations.
Getting to that point
on the draft floor.
It is pretty much getting to that point. I hope no one. For the last 25 minutes, no one's bidded on my guys, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're all gone to bed and don't get up for another 8 hours.
Let's hope we've got a lot of deep sleepers. Let's just go for that. I believe, you know what, I've pretty much got I've got feedback from about 8 to 9 owners that I'm talking to, and including also with you guys. It seems like a lot of us are going to stay up and go into the late hours of the night trying to snake some of these guys. So as much as we want the bidding to slow down, I feel like it actually might pick up around midnight Eastern time. We hope that it doesn't, but I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see, right?
Doesn't. I got to be up for 6 a.m, so.
Well, exactly, right. So the moment you go to bed, things might be going down now that you've announced that.
But I'll be back up at 6. So.
Right, and then your internet's gonna mysteriously crash. Yeah, it's not like we did anything.
Mysterious.
You by joining this podcast, we've already planted bugs, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh, so that's who was on your list. Oh, thanks for the immediate transfer, even though you didn't want it.
Kyle and I and Amit have just been stealing people's lists that come join this show. So
if I may, a little comment.
Yep.
Can you explain the season?
Do you want
Is the season
to what aspect?
CHL?
Do you want to go? Do you want to go at it?
I can give it a shot.
I'll sit.
Go.
All I can say is the CHL is better than the AHL.
To a standpoint, it is because you're only playing your division.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no crossover whatsoever. Besides Zilla's awesome tournament that he runs I'd say about week 7 before playoffs start, where you're actually able to face other teams in divisions. But I mean, that's as close as you get to the actual CHL season, I guess. This is the best way I can answer that.
I mean, is it similar to the real life CHL? In short term, if you were to look at it from the outside, I mean, you've got each league, we've got all 60 teams, we've got the playoffs running pretty efficiently. We have real time teams playing their own rivals a little bit more than other teams, like their division rivals and things like that. So, you know, like, I personally do think that it's very similar to the CHL, but when you get down to it, it's virtual gaming. You know, like, these players, we can only play a certain amount of games, right? You get a full roster. I mean, you're rocking line switches during game in the real CHL. Obviously, you can't have the benefit of doing that here. You gotta set one line for one game, and so in that way, it's virtual gaming. It's a little bit different, but based on format of the games, yeah, it's pretty similar to the CHL. Based on format of trades and rosters, yeah, it's very similar to the CHL, and that's what the league strives on doing. they really hope to make it as equivalent and equal to the CHL as they can. And I think that they do a great job. And I'm going to take every opportunity to compliment League Gaming on everything that they've done with this website. And I'm not being biased because we're all on the media team here, but League Gaming, you look at their website, you look at their platform, you look at what the staff really puts into everything. And you know what? You just got to say great job, because everything is so easy to navigate and everything. You have a little bit of problems with the vetting process, but I understand it. You need that in place in order to stop players from making 2 accounts.
I do actually have a comment on this, if
Yes.
I may. That vetting process is actually the reason it took me so long to actually get into the league. When I originally signed up, it was NHL 15 on Xbox. I still have that Xbox. That's a different story. It's actually a very entertaining story about how I got an Xbox for $10, but I'll leave that for not this. But originally, they were getting so swamped with the Xbox League, I'm assuming, that I personally had a very long wait. They've been a lot better about it now, but I personally had to wait a year and a half to get vetted. So it did take a while, but like I said, now they're on top of it.
Yeah. Well, and I've had a couple people chime in on that exact thing. I know one of the users that was scouting for me was having a very difficult time getting added in, and it was really frustrating him. But then I had to take the moment to explain, like, hey, these are the downfalls if they don't have this system in place. And you have these really great guys making 2 accounts, playing for 2 lines on the same team, stacking teams. It doesn't work if you don't have the vetting process in place, right? So just kudos to League Gaming for everything they do. They're the reason that we have this wonderful, wonderful league. And they're the reason that we're all stressed out of our minds while we're bidding right now. So, yeah.
That's very true.
All right, Nick. So, if you can tell us here, I think we've all stated how high we have went tonight. What is the highest bid that you have placed?
Well, I was that jerk that put $6 million right on gun ass right away.
What?
I stopped it there. But,
what made you do that?
Just so he doesn't go cheap. Because obviously he's going to probably be the top player. So I put it out, and right away it went to $7 million, and I was like, there we go.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I mean, I was kept a little bit under the radar there, not understanding why he was at such a high price, but we figured that out pretty quickly once we did a little bit of research there. Good job, Kyle, for that.
Watch one of Full Melt's streams the other day. You'll see why he's should go for 10 million, but he's at 8.5 right now.
5.
Yeah, so we'll quickly run down, and we're at 10 million. 10 minutes.
I'm the one that called 10. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I'm definitely not at that.
I didn't even make a prediction. So, you know what? Okay, well, we're at 10 minutes until we finish this wonderful podcast that we're doing for you guys here tonight. Thank you for watching. So we'll just quickly run over the top 6 bids, and then I'm going to run through a couple players that I wanted to grab that now are out of my bidding reach. And now I can talk about them because they're out of my bidding reach, and that's wonderful to do.
Let's see if we have any of the same.
So Gunas 0910, solid center. He's played in the NHL. Obviously, he is now at 8.5 million. We got Scooby at 8 million. He has went up from 7. That is impressive. We've got a left defenseman, Scooby. If anybody has some background on him, that'd be wonderful to go over. Sir Nibbles a lot at 6.75 mil. He has not changed. We've got John from Earth. Welcome. 6.25 million. We've got Udat Twiggle, 6 million. We've got Right D Craven A27, as stated. Okay, we've got some Ottawa Senators fans outside cheering. That is
I thought
great.
that was outside my window. I'm not gonna lie. It's like,
yeah, man.
What kind of animal is dying out there?
Yeah.
Sounded like a coyote.
We've got horns honking. We've got everything going. The Ottawa Senators have forced a Game 7. If you are just joining us now and have not been paying attention to that, with the Pittsburgh Penguins, a wonderful Game 6 here tonight in Ottawa, and we've got some wonderful, happy fans on the streets. I'm a Leafs fan, so I'm kind of hiding from them because they'll probably beat me up. But you know, I'm I'm with them in spirit as I'm a Canadian. So
Now try
yeah,
being
so
in
we've
the
got
completely wrong area. I'm a
yes,
Long
I'm
Islander
right.
that's a Wings fan. This is
Yeah,
not a
man,
good mix.
that is tough. That is tough. That's like being a Leafs fan in Montreal, you know. So
It's like
It's like being a Red Wing fan in Toronto.
yeah.
oh, you believe? No, I wouldn't say that.
It's like being a Red Wings fan in Chicago. Yeah, Chicago. So
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Chicago. It's like being uh I'm trying to think of like a really. It's like being a Bruins fan in Toronto. Like being
Or
a Red
Montreal.
Sox fan in New York.
We can go at these all night. Yeah, no. So we'll just quickly continue going over there. Like I said, Craven, great defenseman, but he may get called up to the NHL or the AHL. Sorry,
He
he
could
is
make
at
it to the NHL. I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, you never know, man. He's a solid defenseman. Laville de Quebec has now made it up to 5.5 million with 21 bids on him. We've got SFC, man. He is at 5 million himself. We've got MDH 8911. He's a left defenseman. He is the next highest left defenseman paid at 5 million, and that is it for our over 5 million players. So I'm going to quickly go over a player that I really had on my radar, and that is simply JL Aiden. JL Aiden and infamous 1-2-1-1. Both a left defenseman and right defenseman. Solid defenseman. Honestly, I was hoping that they'd go a little bit under the radar so I'd be able to snag them. That would have been a wonderful pairing to have. They've stopped pretty much every breakaway I've seen them have against them. They've made solid offensive plays. They've constantly been really pressuring in the defensive zone extremely well. It's nice to see players that come and play that are exactly like their positions state. Left defense, JL Aiden doesn't play anything but it, but he's solid at it. You don't want to move him anywhere else. Infamous one, did not expect him. He's my surprise of the night to jump up to $4 million. Now, I expected to kind of grab him around 2.5 because I didn't expect him to be noticed by many teams, as he only tried out for about, I believe, 4 teams. And let's look at this here. Yeah, 4 teams bid on him. He's at 4 million. So over 10 bids, he's kind of just went up by like 500K each. And it definitely sucks that you're not going to be on Sarnia this season, as we cannot afford to go at you anymore. We were really looking forward to have you, and if you're watching this, we wish you the best of luck where you are playing this season. Yeah, so were any of those two guys anything that you guys had?
No. I can't say any because I got one on my list right now that's under the radar. So
yeah, fair
I
enough.
hope he stays there.
You definitely don't want to throw any of your players away. The only reason I did that was to give a little bit of information to the teams that are going after those guys that the Sarnia Sting are now finished bidding on them.
Yeah, I may also do that. Actually, I am going to. See, being a budget guy and a guy that likes to have, a very nice compact team so I can bring in those players at the deadline if need be. The 5 million is way too much for me. So I'll gladly admit, SFC man, John from Earth, I am out. Bully Dogs are out, unfortunately. Fantastic players, but I have to put my foot down somewhere. And 6.5 mil is just not happening for another left defenseman.
Yeah, fair enough.
Especially one that'll make me look even worse as a defenseman.
Yeah, and you know what? John from Earth, I've seen him in a couple scouting games. Definitely wanted to grab him. Was hoping he was also under my radar, but yeah, he got away early. Wasn't even able to put one bid on him. Actually, he went up so fast. I'm assuming you were part of that.
I was the initial bid.
Yeah.
I was the initial bid.
Yeah, there you go.
At least I'm positive I was the initial bid. It's been 2 hours since then, or 3 hours since then. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, and then that's how it goes, right? You lose the guys you were hoping to get the most, but you find really, really good players late in bidding, and it's pretty exciting to grab those kinds of guys. So Amanda Charlebois is asking, who will be the biggest top dollar bust this year? Take a guess. Okay, so based off of everything that I've looked at, I don't want to say this because of his skill, but I want to say this because of his availability and because of the chance that he will go to the AHL. He is that good of a defenseman in my mind that he will be moving up to the AHL. And that is Craven A27. He is at now $5.75 million against the cap. And he might not even have the chance to play for his team that gets him. So he's got 22 bids with 6 teams bidding on him. In my mind, if he goes to the AHL, which I believe he will be the biggest bust of the season.
I would have to agree on that one.
Yeah. Now, my question is, do the cap hits carry over to the AHL? Does that
Yes.
They do.
Yeah, they do, but they also count against the CHL cap.
I'm aware of that one, but
yeah,
if they're called up, they can be sent down in the CHL, and then that's the end of that. But if he's called up, that's also a very big contract to take in the AHL, regardless. They might have a higher
that's
cap.
why I think some people are going high because of that reason. Some owners are thinking, okay, if I put $6 million on this guy, he's not going to go to the AHL.
Now, here's where I'm going to differ. I still think it's going to be a defenseman, but I actually think it's going to be Ajax 32-123. He played last season down here, and he was actually on the same AHL team I was assigned to, the Stockton Heat, who actually won the Calder last season and did it very handily, just like Valdior did down here. But, he's going for about $4 million right now, and as much as he's a great defenseman, that's the thing. He's a great defenseman. He's got the games played to go up to the AHL, and I wouldn't doubt he gets bumped up almost immediately. So $4 million for a guy you're not going to be using, most likely, it's a very big bargain, and I feel like it's going to shoot someone it's going to backfire and just blow someone's face off, essentially. That was a little gruesome for that.
Oh, it was, but, when we're talking about the biggest busts of the season, you got to be gruesome. And Nick, we'll go to you now. Why do you kind of believe that Craven is going to be the biggest bust as well? Like, why do you believe that?
Oh, just because he's going to go to the AHL for sure. Even if he goes to $7-8 million, any team's going to be lucky to have him in the AHL. So
he's a solid.
That's my thing. I didn't even worry about putting a bid on him. I knew he was going no matter what.
Yeah. When I talked to him in scouting, he mentioned to me, hey, I definitely want to play for a solid CHL team, and I believe, I think we've actually, even though we do have 60 owners, I think that we have a solid group of owners this year. So far off of a lot of teams that I've discussed with, they seem to know what they're doing, and everybody in this podcast seems to know what they're doing, and they're making the right decisions. And Craven came to me, and he was saying, hey, I want to play for a good CHL team if I don't end up making the AHL. And I was like, you know what? Sarnia would love to have you, but at the same time, we're not 100% sure if we can afford you, because we know that you're going to kind of get bid up, and we don't want to risk you actually going to the AHL when we can't even have you. That's why we stayed away from him. Didn't matter that we stayed away from him. He is now at $5.75 million, and yeah, I completely agree. That is the reason he will be the biggest bust of the season. Hey, Hammett, are you with us?
Good talk, Hammett. Good talk.
Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe Hammett will come back in a little bit there, but we're going to also ask him that same exact question, because that is a great question, Amanda Charlebois. Thanks for asking it. You were able to kind of get all of our opinions on who will be the biggest bust. It looks like 2 of us are voting on Craven. If Craven stays in the CHL, we will all change our minds.
Yeah, well, I'll be trying to trade for him at deadline.
Yeah, Travis Garnett, you just said, it kind of ties on to what we're saying. You said if you have a player called up, do you get that cap space back? No, you do not. No, you do not.
What do you mean if you don't get that cap space back? Yeah, you do. If he if a player gets called up, you get your cap space back because he goes to your TC roster. So say if you have a guy for $4 million, he gets called up, then he goes to your TC. So it's $4 million cleared up.
Really, all $4 million?
Yeah,
correct.
Oh, damn.
But then if you bring them back up, that $4 million goes against your salary cap.
Okay, but so when they get called to the AHL, that entire amount will be taken off their roster.
Yeah, off of their salary cap.
Okay, that's something. You know what? That's something that I was unaware of, and that's actually a big deal. So I apologize there for making that mistake. Yeah, I guess you do get that cap space back, but I still do believe, like you're bidding a lot on Craven, which means that as long as he is on your roster, he's counting against that cap space, right? So once bidding ends, he's still going to have that cap against you, and that's unfortunately going to stop you from being able to, in this bidding period, get other guys. But yeah, no, I did not know that, so that's pretty solid that you guys chimed in on that. So we're actually losing. We're going to end our podcast here pretty shortly. We're losing Nick and Captain. Hammett. Sorry, I keep reading the wrong name here. Yeah, we're going to be losing Hammett and Nag here. So if you guys just want to kind of give your final remarks, that'd be unreal.
Well, Nag, you going to be around tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be around tomorrow.
All right. I'll have Nag join me on the podcast tomorrow with Brad, and we'll talk over about bidding, about some surprises and that.
Sounds good.
And until tomorrow, I guess I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, wonderful, Hammett. Thanks for having us. Thanks for joining us. Sorry, not having us again. A little late there. And we'll definitely keep looking forward to your podcast tomorrow.
Yep. All right, later, guys.
All right, see you later.
Take it easy. But yeah, I hope everyone has a good bidding, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you later, Nick. Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you.
All right.
We're down to two.
Yep.
We're down to two there, Kyle.
Yep.
So
we actually got one last question, and then I say we end it off. This is for all the people that don't get bids, all like 5 of you. How does TC work? That is one of the questions.
Okay. So I'll let you take that one.
All right. So TC, essentially, you got really big on the screen.
Yeah, did I?
Yeah, if you look at it, it's just mainly your face featuring my room.
Yeah, you know what? You're doing the same thing to me, so.
Anyway, TC, essentially, anyone that doesn't get bid on will be randomly assigned to a team, and then that team, if they, say, need a player for a game, they will give you a heads up. You can hop in, and you have up to 16 games in the CHL. If you can also ECU for the AHL, which is 8 games. But if the owner likes you, you can get called up and replace one of the roster players. And at that point, you've made the roster. You'll be getting 3 games a week. There's no limit other than that. It's 6 if you're, if you somehow usurp the starting goalie role, which on a lot of teams I can imagine is going to be very difficult. But it is possible. I know it happened last season with me. And now my starting goalie's in the NHL, and it makes me a sad panda. He actually wanted to come back too. That's the thing. But
hey, you gotta go where you gotta go, and that's the point of playing this league. You join the CHL. You have a solid time in the CHL because over the course of the season, you play some solid games with the teams. You start enjoying yourself. You start having a fun time, and then it's goodbye. And but then that's another exciting path because now you're about to join a team in the NHL that has drafted you and put you first and really wants you to join their organization, and you kind of get to go up there and you get to start hitting the top of the leaderboards, and we're talking the top of LG leaderboards. That's the best that you have in the game,
Yeah.
and it's an exciting path to take because you get to join that LGCHL, LGAHL, and LGHL life, and it's a good time. Yeah, no, I pretty much there's nothing that you really missed out on that training camp stuff. It's interesting. There's a lot of debate behind will we have enough TC players? Let's hope so. Let's hope that there's more signups throughout the entire season. Because if you sign up late, you get randomly assigned to a team and you're put on that training camp roster. So let's hope it all works out, and we're really looking forward to the season.
Yep.
So we'll close it off now. Let's just go over here one last time what's going on the bid board. So I'll quickly
I got
refresh.
you this time. You've done it every other time. I'll give you a little.
Okay, there you go. Please.
All right. So in the top spot, we still have. Actually, let me refresh to make sure this is really the top guys and not me just talking out of my rear end.
Hey, you've got some interesting upgrades.
Yep. Ooh, two last things. TCs can only play a certain amount of games in the season unless you get called up to CHL or AHL. Yes, and you can only be called up to CHL your first season. Once you've played 15 games in the CHL or 10 in the AHL, you get the amateur status, and you can go to any of the 3 leagues. How many TCs are there? However many people are left after bidding. It's really up in the air there. Last season we had maybe 10 to 15 per team right out of bidding. But this season, I'll be very, very happy if we end up with 10. With the huge expansion, we're adding in 25 teams to this league. So you're most likely going to get at least 5 games played right in this first bit as a TC. But that's me personally, and that's, given people don't show up. But
100%.
Anyway, going off of the top bidding board, yes, I was about to read it right, and I kind of wish I didn't stop now. Gunas, I'm gonna butcher his name all season. 8.5, still at 7 bids, 4 teams. Thank you, Nag, for being the original bidder on that. This would have been a lot more entertaining without, probably.
Yeah, it would have been 6 million right off the start. It would have gotten teams riled up, and
I guarantee everyone would have put a bid on this guy if we had gone over this and he was just climbing. Like the next guy, Scooby, 8 mil still, as well as Sir Nibbles a lot, 6.75. John from Earth, 6.25. Udat Twiggle. I don't know why that was so difficult for me to read. 6 mil. He's only got 9 bids on him, so someone may have bid up very, very heavily on Udat Twiggle.
Mm-hmm.
And La Ville du Quebec. I tried to do my Frenchness. I don't French. So
I'm right beside Gatineau, and I cannot do that either.
Yeah, I'm stateside, so I can Spanish no problem, but French, ooh, no.
There you go.
Craven at 5.7. Makers Hockey at 5. SFC Man at 5. MDH 8911 at 5. And that ends our 5 million up players.
Yeah, so you see really the only increase there is showing that it is slowing down. You see Scooby at 8 million, and then I'm going to be completely honest with you. I love that it's finally slowing down. A lot of teams are going to bed. A lot of teams are, you're hitting that first night of bidding, and teams are going to take a break here. They're going to regroup, wake up in the morning and be like, hey, hold up a minute. Let's see what we've got. Who has been outbidded? And then it's going to kind of pick back up a little bit. But a lot of teams are going to realize that they don't have a lot more money left. And the teams that waited, you're going to be in a good situation to pick up a lot of guys. But unfortunately, you might also lose a bunch. So, it's going to be interesting. But it's now hitting 12:13 on our podcast. And I believe that will be the end of the show for us. And we really want to thank you guys all for coming out, watching this show. we wish you the best of luck with bidding. We wish you everything that goes well. We hope happens for you. We want you guys to have solid depth charts and everything like that. So,
So
yeah, that's it for me. I guess I'll be signing off now. So,
yep.
thanks
And
for having
as
me.
far as I go, since we're ending at the same time, I can't really carry this.
Yeah, yeah.
But for us in the LGCHL SportsCentre, this is going to be a separate thing from now on. Promise. We might show up on the podcast occasionally as guests, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But you will see us at the end of the preseason with some highlights from the preseason. So anyway, we'll catch you guys then. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys enjoy the bidding.
Yep. We'll see you guys later.
See you later.